Hello, everyone. I'm back with another live stream. It's 9:30 p.m. here in Madison, Wisconsin. That's Central Time. And so let's see who's going to join. I am um, I am here doing this live stream, and I'll wait for people to join before I start. I think usually it takes a minute or two for people um, to uh, to join the live stream. So we have pretty mild weather here in Wisconsin, and just a couple weeks ago we had extremely cold weather, but now it feels like for several days that the winter is pretty mild. The temperature is in the 30s. In fact, right now, I don't know it's probably still in the 30s right now. Anyway, yep, it's 35 degrees right now in Madison, Wisconsin. It's been cloudy, which is not fun. I would love some bright sunshine, but that's okay. As long as the temperature stays in the 30s, I think it's pretty good. So, my friends, the topic that I'm going to discuss today, I think you've already seen the title of this live stream, and it's a little different from what I have discussed in my recent videos. I'm actually going to be talking about, is it safe for US citizens to travel outside the country? And you may be wondering why this question's even coming up. What's the significance? I will explain that in a little bit. My friends, people around the world are facing many issues. And if you pay attention to the news, if you pay attention to what's going on inside the US as well as what's going on around the world, then I think you understand that there are many different issues in many parts of the world. And in my observation, and I know that a lot of you will agree when I say this, there's actually growing unrest in various parts of the world. We hear about the crisis in the Middle East a lot. Obviously, Middle East has been in the news, and people read news updates about what's going on in the Middle East. But it's not just the Middle East. There are parts of Asia, other parts of Asia where there is political unrest. There are places in Africa where there are many problems. In Europe, there's political tension in parts of Europe. And even within our own country, the United States, there are many social and political issues that are leading to crises and tension. And of course, there's widespread crime in cities across the country. And I've talked about those. I mean, we can talk about crimes in Chicago, in New York, in LA, in San Francisco, Milwaukee, in my own state of Wisconsin. Milwaukee has crime problems. And so we can talk about all the issues in the United States. But look at the world, look at the places beyond our country's borders. And if you pay attention, then you know that the world is becoming quite chaotic for many reasons. Now let's go back a few years. During the COVID outbreak, there were shutdowns, there were travel disruptions, and many people were also stuck in foreign countries. When the travel disruptions happened, when the flights stopped, there were American citizens who were stuck in foreign countries, and people couldn't travel. There were restrictions, and we all saw that. And as I said, many Americans were stuck in foreign countries and they were desperate to come back to the United States. That happened during the COVID pandemic. And now we are in 2024. It's January the 30th of 2024. So years have gone by, and things have come back to normal for the most part. However, I think that the world that we live in right now is a different world. The post COVID pandemic world is a different world. I think when people write the history books, um, life before COVID and life after COVID, um, that's how I think we have to refer to many events when the history books are written. What was the world like before COVID? What is the world like right now after COVID? And it's not the same world. It is not the same world. There are many people who still wear masks in public places, even today, even in 2024. I do see people wearing masks in public places, and it's their choice. It's their choice. If they want to wear masks, they can. Now, I wrote a lot of different articles during the COVID pandemic, and I was very vocal and I spoke against mask mandates. I am not against people wearing masks. I am against the government dictating citizens that people will have to wear masks. So I was and I still am against mask mandates. But if people voluntarily want to wear masks, that's their decision, right? So anyway, the world before COVID pandemic and the world after COVID pandemic are different. So no matter how much we say that things have gotten back to normal, it's not the same normal. A lot of things are different. For many people, life has forever changed. Anyway, people have resumed travel. And I see many of my friends going to different countries, and they are posting pictures on social media. They're writing about their trips and how much they had fun visiting places outside the US. And so there was a pent-up demand. During COVID, a lot of people couldn't travel, but they wanted to travel. So there was that urge, there was that pent-up demand, and people were stuck at home. Many people suffered in isolation during COVID. And so they had strong urge to resume travel. And so people are traveling again. People are traveling within the United States. People are traveling and going to places outside the United States. They are going to different continents. And also, people are traveling by car. They're traveling by train. They're going on cruise, enjoying days and weeks on cruise ships. People are traveling by air. And so people are traveling again. And of course, inflation is affecting our lives. And I've talked about that quite a bit. Travel is expensive. Traveling is not easy. And just like everything else, travel is also expensive. And so not everyone can afford to travel. And as I've said, a lot of people are struggling to put food on the table. They're struggling to buy gas. They're struggling to pay rent. They're struggling to pay their, they want to buy a house, but they can't afford the mortgage because the rates have gone up. So people have lots of different things that they are struggling with because of widespread economic uncertainty. But that doesn't mean people are not traveling. Of course, many people are traveling, as we know. But the question is it safe? See, here's the key word: safety. Is it safe for US citizens to travel outside the country? I'm not talking about in-country travel. I mean, I can talk to you about traveling to Chicago. I mean, from Madison, Wisconsin, it takes 2.5, 3 hours by car to get to Chicago. So I can ask the question, is it safe to travel to Chicago? Because there's so much crime in Chicago, right? So every time I go to Chicago, I think about, oh, there are so many crimes happening in Chicago. Is it safe to go there? So that's a different question. But I'm asking, is it safe for US citizens to travel outside the country? That's the question. Let me check the chat window before going forward with the discussion. So Cat007 gives me a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that. Billy writes, I wouldn't step foot outside this country. Well, Billy, thank you for sharing your thoughts with me. And I'm actually going to be discussing some pretty serious things in just a few moments. And thanks for letting me know that you don't want to travel outside this country. And I think, Billy, you're not alone. You are not alone. The reason I'm asking this question today is because I know that there are people who are not willing to travel outside the country. They are not willing to travel outside the US for whatever reason. They just feel safe in this country, and there are reasons for that. And I'm going to be discussing that in a little bit. So the question, is it safe for US citizens to travel outside the country? Now, some people might wonder why I'm asking this question. Let me tell you, it is a relevant question. It is a very relevant question. As you can see, if you're paying attention to the chat window, Billy just wrote that he wouldn't step foot outside this country. And obviously, I don't know what Billy's reasons are, but there must be some reason why Billy feels that way. And there are many people who are not willing to travel outside the US. And there are many reasons. And I think that for any US citizen, if you are a US citizen and if you are thinking about going outside the United States, if you're thinking about traveling beyond the boundaries of our country, you need to think twice. I'm not saying don't travel. I'm asking you to think twice before traveling. As I mentioned, my friends, there is growing global tension. There's tension in various parts of the world. There are military conflicts, and there's political tension, and so if these conflicts escalate, that might lead to travel disruptions. And we saw during the COVID pandemic, as I mentioned, that there were many US citizens who went overseas, and then the COVID pandemic happened, the COVID outbreak took place, and travel was disrupted, and many people were stranded outside the country. They wanted to come back to the US, but they couldn't. They had to wait. And, unless somebody has is traveling with a lot of funds, people may run out of money. If you are going overseas and you're going to be there for a week, but you carry extra money with you, so if you need to stay there for 10 days or 12 days, you still can. But what if you get stranded for a month? What if you get stranded for a month and a half? I mean, there are so many possibilities, so many things can go wrong in this day and age, as we saw during COVID. As I said, many people were stranded in foreign countries. And so it's very important for Americans to think very carefully and to plan their trips thoroughly. Think about all the possible circumstances and have backup plan. There are parts of the world, yes, there are parts of the world that are quite honestly very unsafe to travel to. In fact, let me tell you this. The website of the State Department has a long list of places around the world. So you can look up a country and you can see if there's any travel advisory for that country. For example, there are countries that are marked as level 1, which is exercise normal precaution. Then there's level 2, which is exercise increased caution. And then there's level 3, which is reconsider travel. And then there's level 4, which is do not travel. So right now, let me just share with you some examples. If you go to the State Department's website, as of today's date, I actually looked up these examples right before I started this live stream. So this is current information. So right now, if you go to the State Department's website, if you look at the travel advisory section, um, for example, for Singapore or Japan, it's level 1, which is exercise normal precaution. If you look up Ecuador or Denmark, that's level 2, which is exercise increased caution. If you look up Colombia or Nicaragua, that's level 3, which is reconsider travel. And then there's level 4, which is do not travel. And an example would be Ukraine right now. So if you look up Ukraine, it would give you a level 4 warning, which is do not travel. And so you can go to the website of the State Department and you can see the updated list of many countries around the world and the level of caution. Is it level 1, 2, 3, or 4? And 4 is extremely serious because, as I said, 4 is pretty much do not travel. Now, these are updated as new information comes in, and so you can find the date of the update on the website too. Now, the reason why I am discussing this topic today is because I just saw a news update that the State Department has warned American citizens to reconsider travel to Jamaica. That's updated information. Jamaica. And that's because of increased crime in Jamaica. And that's a level 3 warning. And as I mentioned, level 4 is the highest level. And the reasons being mentioned are violent crimes such as home invasions, armed robberies, homicides, etc. And reportedly, such crimes even happen at resorts. So Jamaica, we know, is a very popular tourist destination. And people go there, people stay at resorts, they enjoy, they relax, they enjoy their vacation in Jamaica, but crimes are happening even at resorts. And that's pretty serious. That puts tourists at great risk. And then for the Bahamas, the State Department posted a travel advisory update asking Americans to exercise increased caution, which is a level 2. The Bahamas. So many Americans go to the Bahamas, right? I mean, it's such a popular destination for travel and tourism. And that's at a level 2 right now. And so I talked about Jamaica, I talked about the Bahamas, very, very popular destinations, beautiful places, but there are increased warnings about these two places. So let me look at the chat window here for a second. Or safe on the ocean and then Portugal. Yep. Some people love traveling by ship. Cat007 mentions oceans. Yeah, the oceans are beautiful. Some people love traveling by ship. Some love planes. And, I think air travel, and this is just obviously my personal opinion. Air travel has become quite challenging, I think. I mean, you hear about all these different things happening at airports and on planes. We have seen over the last few years people engaging in disruptive behavior on planes and fighting over different things. And there are so many viral video clips on social media about people quarreling, fighting on planes. And I think air travel is just, unless you're paying a lot of money and traveling first class or business class, I think it's not very comfortable, air travel. I mean, I personally prefer traveling by car because you can only do that if you're traveling within the US or you're going to places where you can go by car. You can't cross the ocean, obviously, but I love traveling by car because if you're driving, you are in control. You can stop wherever you want. You can buy gas. You can stop at restaurants, do sightseeing, If you're tired, you can stop at a hotel or a motel and then continue traveling again the next day. But air travel is pretty challenging, and then luggages get lost and so on and so forth. I mean, I can probably do a separate live stream or a video talking about the advantages and disadvantages of air travel. But anyway, what I want to say really is that life goes on. People will travel. There were travel disruptions during the COVID pandemic, but that isn't stopping people from traveling now. People are traveling all over the world for work, for education, for pleasure. But it's important to understand that the world has changed. We cannot overlook that fact. The world has changed. And over the last several months at least, we have seen growing tension in various parts of the world, political tension, military conflicts, and it's not just the Middle East. I mean, the Middle East is always in the news because there are so many things happening in the Middle East. But beyond Middle East, there are other parts of the world where there are political unrest and crises and different problems. And so Americans have to be very careful when going outside the country, for whether for work, education, pleasure. It's just important to be careful. Now, I personally think that if you want to travel for fun, if you're traveling just because you want a vacation, you want to go somewhere nice, there are so many places in the United States that you can travel to. There are so many places, from mountains to sandy beaches and historic sites, rivers and lakes. There's so much to see within the United States. My friends, we are so fortunate to be Americans. We are so fortunate. We are blessed to be citizens of this great nation. So, go to Florida, go to Vegas, go to Alaska, go to Hawaii, come to the Midwest. Wisconsin is so beautiful. In the springtime, in the summertime, there's so much to do. There's so much to see. So if you want to enjoy urban life, there are so many great cities in our country. If you want to enjoy rural countryside, there are so many beautiful places. You should visit Wisconsin if you want to enjoy beautiful farms and the farmland and do sightseeing and go away from the hustle and bustle of the city and enjoy the peace and quiet in the countryside. There's so many places in Wisconsin, in other places in America. And so there's a lot that we can do. There's a lot that we can see inside the US. And that's just my opinion. I'm not saying don't travel. Obviously, as I said, life will go on. People will travel. They will travel to different places around the country. And I think it's important. It's important for people to, if they have the opportunity, it's important to travel and to, experience the sights and sounds of different countries, and to learn about different cultures, to learn about different traditions, to meet new people. It is very important. But at the same time, we have to understand the reality that we are facing, and that is traveling to certain parts of the world can be very, very risky. Susan says, aloha. Aloha, Susan. I don't know if you just joined or if you were listening to me as I was speaking for about 23 minutes now. I actually mentioned Hawaii. I know Susan is tuning in from Hawaii. I mentioned Hawaii as a place that people can travel to if they want to go somewhere nice. I also mentioned Alaska and Florida and other places. So going back to what I was saying, we will travel. We have to travel. We have to travel to different parts of the world, but understand the reality and pay attention to updated information. It's very important for people to check out the State Department's website, and to see the different travel advisories and to see the different levels, and to be very careful. People won't stop traveling. Travel will continue, but it's always important to be aware of your surroundings. It's important to stay in touch with the latest news updates and to know what's going on in your destination. Um, Billy writes about Maui. Yeah, Susan. Billy writes about Maui, and Susan has also previously mentioned uh, the challenges in Hawaii. Yeah, Susan, I may be talking about what's going on in Hawaii. The devastating fires and everything that's been going on. I think I may end up doing a separate live stream, or I may be talking about it in a future video. So thank you for mentioning that. Yes, we have challenges, many challenges in our country. There are many parts of the country where we see devastating, um, natural events, wildfires, avalanches and floods and tornadoes and so many different things. And I think we can't escape nature, but it's all about how do we address those challenges? Do people get the help that they need? We can't prevent a flood from happening, but is the government making sure that people who have been affected by a flood get the help that they need, get the resources that they need? That's important. So people in Hawaii are still suffering because of what happened in that beautiful place. And so I will be, I don't want to go into details in this video, but I may be doing a separate video or a live stream just to talk about Hawaii. So Susan, thank you for bringing that up. And so, my friends, I don't have much more to add in this live stream. My whole point was to make people aware that as much as we wish to travel to places beyond the US, we have to be careful. We have to be aware of the surroundings. We have to be very thorough when planning trips. We have to check out the travel advisories. And we have to think twice, maybe thrice, before stepping foot outside the US because of the reality of the world that we live in. As I said, many political conflicts, many military conflicts ongoing in many parts of the world. So let's see if people have any questions for me. I want to thank you all for joining the live stream. And life is busy. Sometimes I think, will I be able to do a live stream today? And then I decide, you know what, even if it's 10 p.m., I'm going to do a live stream because I want to stay connected with you all, because I not only want to post videos, but I want to do live streams so I can chat with you, so I can look at your live comments, and that allows me to respond in real time. So I enjoy doing that, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate the fact that whenever I'm doing a live stream, you join and you participate. You write your comments, you write your questions, and I'm trying to be very active on my YouTube channel because there are so many things that we need to discuss. And every morning, and I tend to wake up pretty early. So every morning when I wake up and I go through the news and I think, well, my brain operates in the following way. I see a news and I have a reaction, whether it's the border crisis, whether it's the economy, whether it's something happening, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's something that's happening in a different part of the country. Whenever I read a news, I have opinions. I have things I want to share. I have things I want to say. And so that's how my brain works. And that's why I have this channel, because this channel allows me to share my thoughts with the world. And it's not possible to share my commentary and thoughts on everything that I read about every day, because there's not enough time. Then my live streams are going to be 2 hours, 3 hours long. But I pick maybe one or two or three important items that I think I need to discuss. And obviously, as I am doing these live streams, as I am sharing my videos, people share their comments. I read the comments on my YouTube channel, and that prompts me to do more research. For example, just a few days ago, I received an email from a viewer who watches my videos, and I received an email from somebody who mentioned some ongoing issues with the migrants in Oak Park, Illinois. And so after I got that email, it prompted me to actually do some research and look more into what's going on. And so as I was looking up information about Oak Park and what's going on with the migrant crisis there, I learned a lot of new stuff. And then I decided to make a video just on the migrant crisis in Oak Park, Illinois. And so your comments and your messages are extremely valuable because it allows me to do research into new things. So I have talked about New York City, I have talked about Chicago, I have talked about Denver, but it was because of that one email I received from a viewer that I did some research on Oak Park, Illinois, and I created a video and shared my views with people, which led to more comments that I received from the viewer. So if you are seeing something in your neighborhood, if you are seeing a problem in your community, if you are seeing an ongoing issue that's not being discussed, please send me a message about it. Tell me what's going on in your community. Share with me your thoughts. Share with me your experience. And that will allow me to learn more, to do more research, and then maybe I can talk about those issues in a video and try to raise awareness. So as you are seeing issues in your community, if you think there are problems that need to be addressed, somebody needs to talk about it, or maybe the media is not covering it, maybe it's not being covered on TV news or in the newspapers, let me know what that is, and I will do my best. I can't promise, obviously, but I will try to do my best to research on that topic, to find out more about what's going on. And if it makes sense, I will try to make videos and share more information, as I did with the Oak Park, Illinois issue, the migrant crisis there. So please stay connected with me. Go to my website, tausifanam.net. You can send me a message once you are on my website. You can sign up for my e-newsletter. And if you want, send me an email. If you don't want to send me a message to my website, you can email me directly. My email address is the following. Get your pen and paper ready. Here's my email address. Tausif, that's my first name. Tausif@tausifanam.net. Very simple. Once again, my email address is tausif@tausifanam.net. So feel free to email me, feel free to send me messages, and obviously you can write your comments on my YouTube videos also. So thank you for tuning in. I don't know if there are more questions or comments. And Susan, thank you for highlighting the ongoing issues in Hawaii. I hope to talk about those hopefully soon. You know, life's busy, so I haven't been able to I haven't been able to cover a lot of the topics that I want to. As I said, I always have to pick and choose a few items to discuss, but there are many, many topics out there that I want to talk about. And I think very soon, let me give you some heads up. Very soon, I'll be talking about climate activism. You know, I have been hearing a lot of things about climate activists, people who have this green agenda. There's a color attached to their agenda. It's green. Green sounds good, but is it really good? There are folks who don't like fossil fuels. They don't like coal. They don't like oil. They don't like gas. And so they have green agenda. And there are all kinds of strange activisms going on pertaining to this green agenda. So I'll be discussing those very soon. So stay tuned for that. Um, and you know, I so just since I mentioned that, I should just let you know my views. I believe that we must work hard to achieve energy independence. And when Donald Trump was in office, we were doing so great because we were using our God-given natural resources. Coal, oil, gas. These are important. Fossil fuels are important because when we utilize our natural resources, when we use the resources that God gave us, coal, oil, and gas, then we can have affordable energy, and affordable energy makes us more competitive in global competition. And so I'm going to be, and I see the liberals they're trying to ban natural gas, they're trying to ban the use of fossil fuels, and they are trying to force people to use electric stoves and electric heating. I will be talking more about these, okay? And there's one other important thing I want to mention. We all want a clean environment. There's no doubt about that. We all want clean environment. We all want fuel efficient vehicles. And with technology over time, we are achieving, fuel. The society is producing automobiles that are so efficient these days. And I think we should let the market forces work, because if people demand electric vehicles, electric appliances, then the market will produce that. And that will help address the issue. What I don't like is government trying to force their decisions on people. I want the market to work. If I want to go out and buy a gas vehicle, I should be able to do that. If I want to go out and buy an electric vehicle, I should be able to do that. By the way, I see a lot of electric vehicles on the road, and I think those are very beautiful vehicles, very nice, and people who drive those vehicles, they love those electric vehicles. And there are many people who love gas-driven vehicles. So, people have different tastes, different preferences, and they should be able to buy what they want depending on their budget. People should have that freedom. I don't want the government dictating people that they should use this appliance, or they should not use this appliance, or they should buy this kind of vehicle and not that kind of vehicle. I want government uh, to stay out of this. Let the consumers decide. So I want the United States to use our God-given natural resources of coal, oil, and gas. Obviously, we have to make sure that we use it in a way that's environmental friendly, because we all want clean air, we all want clean water, we all love the beautiful trees and the greenery, and so I think with technological advancement, we should be able to use fossil fuels while also keeping the environment clean. What I don't like is climate activists trying to push for this green energy. They have this climate agenda that they are trying to force on people, and they are trying to force people to buy things that they don't want to buy. So anyway, I will be talking more about that in future videos and live streams, and I'll be sharing with you some examples of things that climate activists have been doing, which are very disruptive, like blocking traffic and stuff. So more to come on that. Thank you, my friends. It's uh, almost 40 minutes that I've been doing this live stream. Sally writes, "Make America free again." Sally, thank you for joining the live stream. It's good to see that you're here. Um, and let's see some other comments. Okay, so um, the comment section actually keeps vanishing. I think I'm getting better at managing the screen here, but on my end, I can see myself, I can see the time, I can see that I'm live. But then as people are writing comments, the live chat window comes back and then it vanishes again. And sometimes even before I can read the comment, the chat window keeps vanishing. But anyway, with time, I'm just getting better at managing it. So anyway, my friends, thank you so much for your comments. If I have missed responding to any of your comments, I'm sorry, but I will be reading the comments again, hopefully tomorrow. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much, Billy. Thank you for joining, Billy. I appreciate it. Sally, thank you for joining. Susan, thank you, Susan, for joining. I really appreciate that. Cat007, Cat has joined several of my live streams, I think. Cat007, thank you for joining tonight and for staying. It's past 40 minutes now, and I think I will end this live stream. I want to thank you all again for staying connected to my YouTube channel. And as I mentioned, you all helped me get to the 1,000 subscribers milestone. And I think I have well over 1,000 subscribers, maybe 1,040 or something. The number keeps increasing. I appreciate that. It tells me that more and more people are watching my videos and they are interested to hear what I have to say. But let me remind you again, I'm interested to hear what you have to say. So please send me your messages, send me emails, send me comments, and let's keep this conversation going. We live in a beautiful country. We have our freedoms, and we have to do our best to protect our rights and to protect our freedoms. And for that, we have to talk. We have to be vocal. We have to discuss the issues that we are facing. And we have to, together, we have to address the challenges that we face as a country. And, let's make America great again. Thank you so much, my friends. Have a good night. I'll be back again with more videos and more live stream. Thank you.